Okay, the first step of cooking a country ham, you have to scrub it first. As you can see, there's a little mold growing, and this is very common. It's not abnormal. After a ham sits for like a few months, it may start growing the mold. So what I'm going to do is take a scrub brush here, and we're going to scrub all of this off. You want to scrub the whole ham just as hard as you can to get that off. It's very important the way you treat a country ham, because it may be a lot of work, but it's worth the effort when it's all finished and done. And if it isn't done properly, it's a very salty ham. But after the process of getting it ready to cook, if it's done properly, it's all worth the effort. You just want to scrub the whole ham really good and get any of that mold off that you see. Now after you're finished scrubbing it, you want to put it in a large pot. I'm going to put it in here. You have to have a large one because the ham's so big. And then I'm going to cover it with water, cold water, and I'm going to let this sit about 10 or 11 hours. And then we'll go to the next step. I've had the country ham soaking about 10 hours. So I'm just going to lift it out of the water, and I have some hot water over here on the stove. And I'm just going to put it in the hot water. Whoop. And I'm going to let that simmer for about 4 3/4 hours to take the salt out of it, and then we'll continue. Okay, I've cooked the ham almost 5 hours, and that should take a lot of the salt out of it. So now what I'm going to do is trim up all of the fat and skin off of it. Just cut all of it off. And then after that, we'll put some brown sugar and cloves on it, and before we put it in to bake. But you want to cut all of it off. As you can see here, if you have a meat saw, you can cut the shank half the end off of it. This is mostly bone, and I like to use that with cooking beans and stuff, and it also makes a better presentation on a plate, I think. But if you don't have a meat saw and you can't get it off, you can just leave it on. Or you can take it off earlier. If you don't have a pan big enough to cook it in, you could remove the shank end off then, so it fits in your pan better. As you can see here, I've cut as much of the fat and skin off. You can see the meat here. And all the way around, I cut as much off as I could get off. And that way, the flavor of the cloves or anything that you decide to use, I like brown sugar and cloves, but that will penetrate better. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to tuck in, I have about 4 dozen whole cloves here. And I'm going to stick them all over the ham. And if you find it's too tough, just take a little knife and poke a hole in it, and just stick those all over the ham. And those cloves make a great flavor. Okay, I've put cloves all over the ham. As you can see, it's all around on both sides and on the ends, and I probably use 60 or 70 of the whole cloves. So however many you like, the more you put in, the better the flavor, I think. But if you don't like a strong clove flavor, then you can just use a few. Now I'm going to put pat brown sugar on it, and to me the brown sugar cuts any of the salt that's left in it. It just kind of neutralizes it. Now I pat it on the bottom, so what I'm going to do, I've got a pan prepared here. I lined it with foil, and I put some spray on it so the brown sugar wouldn't stick so much. And I'm going to take the side that I have the brown sugar on and put it down in the pan. And then as you can see here, I've got the top sticking up, so what I'm going to do is pat some more brown sugar on the top of it. Now there's a lot of different recipes to fix these hams, however you like it, but I kind of like the brown sugar and cloves together. And sometimes I might take it out at the end and put some pineapple slices on it also. The pineapple makes a very pretty presentation. And then I'm going to wrap this up in the foil, seal it up, and then I'm going to put it in the oven for an hour or so until it's nice and tender. Okay, I'm taking the ham out of the oven to check it. It's been in there about an hour and it smells really good, but I decided that I wanted to put some pineapple on it so it looks real pretty. So I'm just taking toothpicks so it doesn't slide off. And I'm just going to lay pineapples all over the top of it, and the toothpicks will hold them in place. And this makes it look really pretty when you put it on a plate. Just cover the whole thing with the pineapples. And now in all of the holes, I'm going to put a red cherry. See how pretty that's looking, the colors? On the sides, you may need some more toothpicks in the cherries just to hold them in place. I think I'll even put cherries in between the pineapples here. Just fit them in wherever you can get them. And that looks real pretty. And then I'm going to take and just pour a little bit of the pineapple juice on it too. Just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to put this back in the oven and let it bake some more. Okay, I've just taken the ham out of the oven, and you can see how it kind of browned the pineapples a little bit on top. Makes a real pretty presentation. So I'm going to take it out and put it on a platter and get it ready to serve.